If you take a look at my fragrance collection, you will realize that I have a lot of fragrance that are actually blind buys. And this is why today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do a blind buy successfully. So there's many people that say you should never blind buy, you should always try a fragrance before you buy it. Some other people say, oh, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of opinion with this. And the reality is that if there's just a little bit of things that you're doing, you're raising the chance really highly to have a successful blind buy. Because if you just follow what people say, oh yeah, this fragrance is good, you'll buy something, and it might not be good. I mean, that person likes it. It doesn't mean that you will like it, which is the important thing in the end, that you like the fragrance. So there's one website that I really like about this. It's Fragrantica. So I know a lot of people would say, no, Fragrantica is not that good. It's not, there's other websites that are better. And I agree that there's some flaws in Fragrantica. Some other website might be better, but specifically for buying a fragrance, doing a blind buy, Fragrantica does a perfect job to help you figure out if the fragrance is something you like. So I'm going to show you in Fragrantica a little bit like the things you might want to see before you buy a fragrance, but there's really two main things you need to know before even considering to blind buy a fragrance. The first thing you need to know is what kind of fragrance do you want? Do you want something more uplifting, more like dark, something more for business, something more casual? You know, you need to have an idea a little bit of what kind of fragrance you want. It might be anything. It might be a violet fragrance, for example, or something toward one specific note. But you need to have an idea of what kind of fragrance you like and what you're looking for. So if you find a couple of fragrance that you're not sure which one to buy and you're going to do a blind buy, you're going to be able to figure out which one you want the most according to this specific criteria that you're having. So this is number one. Number two, it's even more simple. It's knowing things you like, things you don't like. There will be notes in fragrance that you love, that you absolutely love, that pretty much every fragrance with that note, you like it. There will be fragrance in the opposite, that note, you don't like it. Like me, I don't like soapy fragrance. I think it's pointless to buy a soapy fragrance because if you want to smell soap, you wash yourself. And if you buy a fragrance, it's not to smell soap, but to smell good, smell fragrance in the end. And there's lemon that I don't like because I don't know. Sometimes lemon might be good, but usually I don't like lemon. And citruses mostly, I don't like it, but a little bit it's not so bad. And notes that I like would be leather and tobacco. So I know if I find something with leather and tobacco, there's a good chance I'm gonna at least like it, if it's not just love it. So knowing what you like, what you don't like in fragrance, the different notes, it's also something that's really important because in the end, that will be a big indicator if you like the fragrance or not. So I'm going to show you on Fragrantica exactly what I look when I'm thinking to blind buy a fragrance. I know sometimes I don't do this because I buy a fragrance for a review or something, but really the best way, if it's just something that you want to wear, it's to be able to figure out if it's really what you're looking for. So here is Fragrantica. Let's say there's a fragrance that you've heard that it's really good, something a lot of people talk about these days. There's a new Versace Eros Eau de Parfum or Parfum, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna search this. Eros Eau de Parfum. So there's really there's really three part of the website that I'm looking on that page. The first thing, well, this might be nice to see whether people say it's spring, winter, summer, day or night, if they like it. That might be interesting if you're looking for something that people love to get compliment. You see there's a lot of love on this one, so you can assume you're gonna get compliments from this fragrance, but it's most people that's not what they're looking for. But if it's what you're looking for, it's a good place to look. Also, winter, fall, day, night. Those criteria I don't really care so much about them. I make my own idea afterward. Then on this part here, there is the perfume pyramid, the like every note that you find in the fragrance, and people vote for how much they smell it. It happen often that there's a note, let's say a letter, for example, or ambroxan. I don't know if this one's, yeah, this one's ambroxan, that it shows really high, and when you smell it, it's not that high. It happens that that vote is not accurate, but it doesn't really matter in the end. It gives you still a good idea of what you're gonna smell in the fragrance. So here you see vanilla, mint, apple, some ambroxan, and some leather. I would say that the leather might be where it start to not smell that much. So with this, it shows you the notes. So for me, I don't like lemon, but lemon is really low on the list. So I might, I might be good. I might want to try this one though before. I also have an idea of what it is because it's Eros. It's not something I never heard about. But if you don't like, I don't know, apple, the note of apple, you see it's really high. So this is not something you should buy because the note of apple is there. Or in the opposite, if you love apple, that might be a good idea to buy it because it's really high. Then I look at longevity and sillage, and when you look at these two, it tell you how long people that wear it, how long it lasts on them, and on the sillage it shows also the projection, how much people will smell it around them. And sometimes it gives result like this where most people, there's not any place where it shows that a lot of people say that specifically, like let's say heavy, it's really project heavily. Sometimes it happens that you don't find anything that show itself more than the other, then it will be really up to you, your skin chemistry and everything, and both of them really really is all about your skin. So this one, yeah, you'll have to try the notes here. Some will not be like as prominent as it seems, but in the end they are all the notes in the perfume. It won't smell magically something that's not written there. It won't smell tobacco, for example. There's no tobacco listed there, so it's unlikely, like almost impossible, that you smell tobacco out of that fragrance. But even though people say that projection is heavy, a lot of people say it is, your skin it might differ. And for longevity, you see there's many people that say it's long lasting, many say it's very long lasting. There's some people that say it's poor, and if you see poor for them, it's 30 minutes to an hour. I would say when you see things like that, a lot of people say it's poor, and a lot of people say it's long lasting, and there's no in between. Usually it's because people spray it, and as it's still wet on their skin, they smell it, and they smell it a lot, and they became nose blind. And after 30 minutes to an hour, they cannot smell the perfume on them anymore, even though it still smells. And on this specific perfume, this is what I will assume happened. But if you will see a lot of people in between that say it's weak, moderate, it will be the same. It really depends according to the skin. If you see one that peaks more than the other, you can assume that it would be what is the longevity of it. Then the third thing that I'm looking at And sometimes I look at different fragrance that looks alike, but it's it's rare that you see something that you really see something like this one. It smells like Eros, so it kind of gives you an idea of the smell, but um, usually it's fragrance you don't know. It's fragrance that don't really look alike, so it's not really a good place. But you can still look at this, and then I go look at the reviews. If a review seems to be well done, like this one, just say something little. Some people really take their time to write stuff like this one. Um, there's not so much good reviews on this one. Sometimes they're a really long review and you see the person know what he's talking about. Those reviews are good. They are showing you what the fragrance really is. So this is the first thing I think you should do if you want to blind buy a fragrance, is to look in Fragrantica, look at those information so you have an idea if it's something that might be interesting or not. And there's an example of fragrance. It's Dirty English by Juicy Couture. And this fragrance, if you look at the note breakdown, the note looks really good. There's oak moss, there's leather, there's a lot of nice stuff, and leather is ranked really high in the fragrance. So I could assume it's a good fragrance but it's not so much of a good fragrance. And if you look at the comments, you see that people say that it's dimmed, it's not powerful, it's kind of faint under something else, which is what it is. So that's really a good way to have an idea what a fragrance is, know if you should blind buy it or not. And over time also, I think it's a skill, blind buying. You buy stuff that you shouldn't, that smells bad, and over time you get better at knowing what you like, what you don't like. And I think blind buying, it's more about knowing yourself than knowing perfumery, because the information are there. If you know what you like, it will be easier for you to blind buy. Also, at that point, if you're not sure if you want to buy a fragrance or not, you still want more information, there's the obvious YouTube where you can go. And then if you're still not sure after watching YouTube videos, it might be because it's not great for you. It's not a perfume that really fits for you. I mean, if you see a perfume and you're like, oh yeah, that looks so amazing, and you're really into it, but you're still not sure because, oh, maybe you won't like it, and then you watch all of this information, you should have an answer to you that, yes, it sounds amazing, I'm sure I'm gonna like it, and you can buy it. But if you still have doubt, you're not sure, this is because the fragrance is not really worthy, or not necessarily worthy like forever, but maybe just right now. Maybe now it's not time to buy this fragrance. So if you're not sure, just don't do it. In the end, it's your money. It's you decide what you do with it. So if you buy a $100, $200, $300 fragrance and you're not sure and you're disappointed, you'll regret what you're telling yourself. Your inside of your gut are telling you what to do in the end. So listen to yourself. Get the information and listen to yourself. That's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If it's the case, well, like and share. If you have any comment, if you have any other tips on how to blind buy, just write them in the comment. I'll be really happy to hear them from you. So thanks for watching the video and see you soon.